All right. Welcome to the One Life, One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. Today I have a very, very special guest blessing my kitchen once again. Not once again, but somebody else blessing my kitchen. Welcome to the podcast, Nate Albert.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Life's good, right?
Life is amazing.
It's an interesting time right now.
It is crazy.
Especially like being in the music business. It's a very surreal time.
It is absolutely nuts.
Is there anything you've been doing during this lockdown that you just learned how to do, like something new?
That I've learned how to Zoom.
Yeah, that's all the rage.
Microsoft Teams, Slack, all of that technology stuff. I'm like on all of it now.
Okay,
it's crazy.
What is Slack?
Slack is like this group chat almost. If there's like 50 people working on something, somebody will say something in the middle of the thing or put an article, and you can all see it and go look at it and talk to people.
You know about that? Okay, sorry, I'm not in that world.
We had all this stuff, just didn't use any of it. Now I'm like over.
Okay, it's been Zoom has been here for a minute too, right?
Zoom's been now it's like my day is Zoom.
I feel like Slack should be the name of some of the homeschooling. Because I'm seeing my son, he's like on his phone and he's on that. It's like so much stimulation. I'm like, put your phone away. He's like, no, I'm good. I'm paying attention. I'm playing like a video. I'm playing like a surf video game. You can't do that. And the people talking over one another on there, like the homeschooling thing is really an interesting thing. It's only been the second week right now, right?
Yeah, we're in our first week. It's crazy. It is crazy.
It's a new world.
It is a new world for sure.
And I just realized too, you're turning 50 this year as well. You're 1970.
I am. That's right.
I had my birthday a couple months ago in lockdown. My friends came by and beeped their horns.
Happy late birthday. Happy late birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But it was weird to have my birthday like in my front yard, and then my wife said, just hang out. We're having fun out here. I'm like, cool. And then all of a sudden, beep, beep. And then like a parade of my friends came. It was nice.
Oh, that's so nice.
It was cool.
That's awesome.
So you were born in Massachusetts?
Yeah. Well, no. I was born in Maine. But then we moved to Massachusetts when I was about a year old, into Cambridge.
Cambridge.
Yeah.
I was born in Taunton. How far is that?
Oh, Taunton. Maybe like there was a ramp in Taunton we used to go to.
Oh, wow.
Maybe 20 minutes from Cambridge, 20 to 30.
Yeah, and then we had the Brockton Mall. I think that was somewhere.
Brockton, yeah. That's right out there.
Yeah, so you used to skate. Oh, we're going to get to Okay. Yeah. So you have brothers and sisters?
Older brother. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And was he into the same stuff as you?
My older brother's name's Marty, and he's 5 years older. He got me into all this music, whole thing. He was a roadie for SSD Control and Stranglehold.
Shit.
And so when I was a little kid, he was like around Springer and all those dudes. He's one of the dudes running up the stairs on that SSD cover.
Holy shit. Damn.
Yeah.
So you were young when you started playing music, right?
Yeah, I was... Well, Joe Gittleman, who's in the Bosstones, and I both went to a super hippie grade school, maybe like 100 kids, a school called the Fairweather Street School. And we started doing music in that school when I was around 11. Like, seriously, like we're doing a band. Joe's 2 years older than me.
Okay.
But then the first time I played out was with I guess, jumped on stage with a band called Stranglehold, and I was 13.
Stranglehold, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that. I was like 13 years old. That's freaking crazy.
Yeah, weird. And the Bosstones were already kind of starting then.
Okay, so what year would that have been? That's
1983.
1983.
Yeah.
So how was it growing up for you in Massachusetts? How was your family? You have like a strict family? You guys religious?
No, my parents had divorced. That's why we moved to Cambridge.
Okay.
So when I was really little. And then we grew up outside of Harvard Square, and it was just like most of my friends' parents were divorced, and it was just mayhem. So it's like skateboarding, BMX, everybody was kind of in the streets, and everybody, we kind of created our own little family vibe. We had a quarter pipe. A bunch of our friends had half pipes or quarter pipes, and we just would go from ramp to ramp to ramp.
That's awesome. And your brother got you into that?
My brother grew up skating with Jake Phelps and all those guys when Jake lived in Boston. Wow. So like Larry Hitch, Gluehead, and Jake would come over to the house and be like the cool older guys.
Yeah.
And super intimidating, super smart, but also like our heroes.
Yeah. And what did they, you remember Sid Abruzzi in like Newport, Rhode Island? It was like the skate ramp there. I think a lot of people went to Newport and skated.
Yeah.
Water Brothers.
Yeah. That whole New England thing was nuts.
Fred Smith was out there.
Fred Smith, yeah. And there was the Cambridge pool, the Ringe pool was the big place everybody would skate. It was like 2 feet of vert, crazy concrete thing. Yeah.
So, how were you in school? Did you like it?
School? I've always loved school. I got
like one of the first guests that said that recently.
No, I absolutely love school. Yeah,
it's awesome.
We went. My school. They asked me when I forget what year. I was maybe 7 or 8. and they said, what do you want to do? It was like a really progressive school. And I was
Yeah.
like, I want to skateboard and write songs. And they're like, okay, we're going to figure that out for you. So
Wow.
that's when I kind of got a guitar teacher. I didn't really latch into I'm going to be in a band, but that was the beginning of me like noodling around and like trying to figure out how to do this stuff.
Yeah. So did skating and punk rock kind of come together?
Absolutely. I mean, it was all,
Yeah.
I mean, Devo were also one of my favorite bands at
Great
that
bands.
time. And, you know, there were skaters in their videos, and it
That's
just was like that culture was married. Punk
100%,
rock and,
yeah.
Punk rock and skateboarding.
Like just the soundtracks of like Bones Brigade and all that stuff. With
oh
Youth
my God.
Brigade and all
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So were you a street skater?
Yeah. Yeah. Mark Gonzalez was like
Sick.
the dude.
That's
you know?
awesome.
Yeah.
What was like, you have like your favorite trick?
No, not really. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, we were really into like ollieing trash cans and shit like that. And like,
Damn.
you know, but it wasn't like Rodney Mullen shit. It wasn't none of that crazy.
That's some next level shit.
That was absolutely next level shit.
I skated Rodney Mullen back then. I skated street on the Rodney Mullen and ramp on the Rodney Mullen. People thought it was crazy, but I liked the skinny boards back then.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I-
Those little, yeah.
Yeah, and I would do freestyle, and my claim to fame is I got in Thrasher in '83 at a Narragansett skate contest. I got second place.
Oh, that's sick.
And Fred Abong from Vicious Circle got number one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's my whole freestyle career right there. But yeah, I love skating the little ramps like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you want to do in school? Did you want to do music? That was your main, because you're in a music school, so that was your goal when you graduated.
I was doing, well, this is grade school. So then I don't know. I think I've always just had like a voracious appetite for information, you know, like for whatever reason, I just am really into figuring shit out and learning shit.
So you got really good grades.
I eventually got really good grades. When I went from that super small school that had 100 kids to a school that had 4,000 kids.
Oh, shit.
And I feel like no one's asking me for my homework. Cool. I'm just not going to do that shit. So my first year was not good. But then I was like, okay, I'll actually do my homework. So
Yeah. So you graduated, obviously, but were you in the Bosstones when you graduated?
yeah, it's so many. I was in the Bosstones freshman year, sophomore year.
Wow.
And most of junior year, and then I quit to finish high school. Like I got to finish school. I'm gonna not do the Bosstones. And we were crazy. I mean, it was like skateboarding to band practice. Then I was playing 21 plus show. It wasn't really the all ages shit yet. It was really like I was in places I should not have been for much of my life, you know, with people. And I was always big, right? So I was like 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, and people thought I was an older kid, but I was like 14.
And what did your parents think about you running around doing that stuff?
I think they had much more strict upbringings, right? So
Okay.
they were allowing something which they hadn't experienced themselves. So there was a lot of freedom. And my mother was a photographer, so like the arts were a big part of her world, and it felt like, okay, let us be liberated. But with that, the baby was thrown out with the bathwater for sure. Like there were no rails.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of drugs back then, and people scared me straight for sure. There was a lot of people like, you know, that I knew that were heroin addicts or going to jail for whatever. And they were like, dude, don't do this. So I saw a lot of bad stuff happen, but I so easily could have slipped into that shit, you know?
Yeah. So you didn't experience drugs at that age, young age?
No, I tried a couple things, but I never was like the heroin thing. Just always seemed like horrifying and terrifying to me.
That's pretty intense, especially for that age. That's
But I
like
had friends who were doing it. That my brother's friends were like in
That's similar to me a little bit. My brothers were partying around me. They kind of scared me straight as well. Like they got me into punk rock and skateboarding, but then I wasn't down with the weed smoking, the drinking, and the fucking having parties at the house my mom was working and shit. So
yeah,
I thanked them for that for sure.
Right.
So you graduated.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then I was like, the Bosstones got back together when I was about 18, I think. We got back together. And we were making what we thought was a record for, I think it was called Oi Records or something. In England. They had reached out. But that like morphed into, you know, Curtis found out about it and turned into the Devil's Night Out, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you... So you graduated and your goal was music then, or did you have some other...
I had some weird thing about like how do I do in what way am I going to do music, you know,
as a career,
and I still just feel like writing songs or helping other people with songs or production or marketing plans or tour everything. I just love figuring all that shit out. Like I absolutely love it. It's crazy.
So even at that age, you thought about producing stuff? Or
Yeah. It was, I mean, I had gone to summer school at Berklee College of Music when I was 15 to study guitar. And, or maybe, no, I was 16. I was 16 that summer. And so that opened me up to there's all these jobs in the music industry. There's all, and plus, you know, Al had Exclaim Records and there was Discord and there were all these people just had their own labels. And I was like, that is amazing. Mm-hmm. So that seemed like a more of a plot. I never thought it was like major label was not the thing in my head at all. I was like, okay, we're going to make our own label or I'm going to make a label. That was more where I am now. Just seems absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Were you working jobs when you got out of school, like when you graduated?
No, well, no, not really. It was kind
Straight
of like,
music.
it was kind of like, yeah, the Bosstones, we were getting cut little bits of money, you know, for shows and it was fine.
Yeah.
And I was still living at home. And I remember thinking and articulating, like, if I could only make, you know, I think it was like $300 or $400 a week forever playing guitar. Like, I'm good. That was like my thing. I was just like, I just want to play guitar, just have enough to be able to get food, have an apartment. I'll be psyched.
Wow.
And then I also remember hearing that like, I think Minor Threat had sold 50,000 records, which absolutely blew my mind. And I thought, like, if we could sell 50,000 records, that would just, like, I couldn't even wrap my head. 50,000.
So how did Devil's Night Out do?
I mean,
it came out. Was it EP or full length?
It was a full length.
Okay.
We had recorded some of it before we broke up the first time. So some of it's recorded in 1985 and the rest of it is like 1989, 88, 89, I think. It did okay. I mean, it sold hundreds of thousands of copies by now. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
Probably. But,
sure, though.
But it came out and people dug it. It was weird. It was like other people were listening to similar records and we just put them all together.
Yeah, it was such a good mesh of all different styles of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a pretty original style. I mean, it's not just ska; it's everything mixed. You guys are hardcore punk kids as well, and
it's a blueprint kind of. I think for me, for like what I look for in other artists or new artists, which is basically like taking your record collection and stuff you love and just boom, creating the new. Yeah,
100%. Your own lane and shit.
Yeah.
And you guys were received back then?
No, it was a disaster. I have these great pictures of like us in front of nobody. I mean, it really was like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Because everyone was trying to be like the Ramones or trying to be like Cheap Trick or trying to be, you know, there was like this cool guy thing. And I think we had already jumped into this thing about including everybody and being more about love and like people are invited as opposed to exclusionary.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
even at
sure.
the
It's a big party,
thing.
big family.
Yeah. And we were really like subverting the cool aesthetic. We were kind of like, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah. So did you guys hit the road when that came out?
Yeah, we hit the road with Murphy's Law. I mean, it was like crazy. Jack Flanagan, Joe Gittleman knew Jack and hooked us up, and Jack started managing us. And we opened, and that was like baptism by fire, like how to tour and what it all means. And like, I was just like, holy smoke, this is crazy.
Yeah, and they probably had just come off the Beastie Boys tour back then.
Yeah, it was like that energy was like, that's what, you know, part of what the Don't Know How to Party's about. The Bosstones, there's like, yo, these guys are like, we don't know how to do that. Whatever's happening over there, that is not, you know.
Yeah, next level.
Yeah, next level.
That's what I had Angela Moore, and yes, he talked about being on the Beasties Murphy's Law tour. No, Beasties, that tour. So it was crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's like a movie, man.
Yeah.
It's wild. And then I was talking about Adam Blake, his first tour after being in shelter, being a monk, had to clean shave, couldn't masturbate, lived in a monk, had all these rules.
Yeah.
And they went on tour with Murphy's Law.
Oh, my God.
And Jimmy Gestapo got his first lap dance, and then his whole life changed. Like, everything changed from that tour. He got his first tattoo, the Beer and Water tour tattoo. But he went from this world, like Murphy's Law, like they'll fucking, quote unquote, pop your cherry, I guess, if it's like really take you on a tour. Like, this is going to be some all-night party and shit.
Yeah.
Like, just living to the fullest. That's why I always love Jimmy. Jimmy Gestapo was one of the greatest frontmen. You know what I mean? Like, he can get a party started.
Oh, my God, yeah. Yeah.
So that's your first kind of tour experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had done a handful of other shows. Like we played with Bad Manners outside of Boston, like small New England stuff, but that was like, we're going away. I remember we hit the toll booth in the van and people were like jumping out. Like, I'm out of the van. Like, you know what I mean? Like we hadn't figured out how to be civil to each other at all. Like everyone was hungover or drunk or like it was
because it was more like weekend tri-state things.
Well, originally, and then it was like that extended. Like, okay, you got to figure out your rhythm and get away from each other, and like how to pace yourself. We hadn't really figured any of that out yet.
Because that's the thing. Like when you really go on tour, you really realize like who's built for this, and who you want in your band. You know what I mean? Like
quickly.
We had our original lineup, and then went to Europe on a bus for like 9 weeks with Civ and Sick of It All.
Yeah.
And then we realized who meshed and who didn't mesh. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Who can handle it or deal with it or just the personalities.
We used to have a saying, "Be your own Bosstone." Like go figure it out, man. Like you know what I mean? You're responsible for your own world.
But you guys like the Wu-Tang. You guys had a lot of members. There was a lot
God.
of people crammed into the vehicle.
Yeah, you could. It was different worlds. It was like you could hang out with the horn players for a while, and then go hang out in the front lounge. You'd be more Dick and Joe, and then hang out in the middle. And it's like you definitely would make your
and all different personalities. All
different personalities.
So it's like it's kind of cool though.
Yeah, but there was really good chemistry, man. Like you can't. I've worked with so many different bands now and so many, I guess, different labels, so different teams. When you hit chemistry, it's just like you can't mess with that.
No matter what arguments happen or anything behind the scenes or like you're all brothers, it's dysfunctional at times. You all love each other. But when you get on stage or you make a record, there's something magical and it works with each other. You know what I'm saying? Like
part of it too, like I think it was about 5 years ago I read this study. It was a Google study about their teams. The teams that felt emotionally safe and shared their ideas had an IQ higher than any individual on that team.
Wow.
Right? So it elevated what they did. And they felt safe. And I think that bands are the same way. Like even if you fight and disagree, the skill set and the artistic credibility and level of execution rises above any individual in that. You get all these different points of view, and it becomes this amazing thing that no one individually can recapture because it's about the whole. And that tension is the only way you get there. The disagreeing is the good shit. Like when people start agreeing, I'm like, oh, we're fucked. Like the more I see that now, people are really comfortable in a creative situation. It's not good. And I'm always trying to get people to be disoriented or uncomfortable or like those things make great music.
I think so too. It comes from all the you're right. The stress, just the different things, the different personalities, egos, just all that. But then it just gets out. It creates this energy.
Right.
It's only made by this group of people.
Right.
And
when you hear something back, like I never could have done that alone. That's like the best, for me.
So there's a lot of opinions, a lot of voting, all that stuff to get things to a right.
Yeah,
sure,
there was like never voting really. It was just
voting,
it was kind of like it's just it would happen.
Yeah. All right, so you toured on that for a while. Then More Noise and Other Disturbances came out after that. How soon after that was that? From Devil's Night Out?
I think we were already in it by the time Devils came out, and some of the songs on Devil's Night Out were written when I was 14 and 15 years old, right?
Wow.
So they're really simple and but Where'd You Go and some of that stuff that was on the second record was influenced by other bands we were listening to, like the Pixies at that time. That kind of riff. There was so much more input all of a sudden in like what we were doing.
Yeah.
And we just kept going. I remember everyone kind of couldn't believe we had made the first record, and they kept not believing we were doing what we were doing. Like everybody was like, how did you wait a minute? Like we were kind of starting to surpass all the cool kids. And our crowds just started getting crazy in Boston. They started getting
nuts. Yeah. Boston's hard, man. I know it's like just like a New York kind of Boston rivalry, sports, whatever. But we had to go there a lot of times to get just people to clap. Like it's a hard crowd.
Yeah.
Just to break in Boston, not really break and be big, but just to get people to follow you and like you. Like, and it might have been coming from the New York scene, whatever. But it took a while playing the Rat, all those different venues to like Mama Kin, just all those places to get people like, okay, we get it. You know what I mean? Like
we had a real like awareness of the propaganda element of all this, like, and we literally for the same reason created an intro tape that had a chant for ourselves on it. So we were chanting "Mighty, Mighty Bosstones" like on the tape.
That's sick.
And then kids just started doing it. They thought people behind them might be doing it or some shit. And then it just got bigger, and then we didn't need that anymore. But it was absolutely crazy.
Planted that seed.
Yeah, it was a similar, like we were having we were having a lunch and we kept getting described as all these weird things in the press, like funky, jazzy. And we were like, let's come up with a name. And we came up with the name ska-core over a lunch. And then like, let's just say, this is what we are. So that people could box it for themselves.
Huh.
Because we felt like Fishbone kind of got fucked by that because they're so talented and they were such our North Star in terms of awesomeness.
Yeah.
But they were like, what are they? You know? They were the leaders.
Yeah.
You know? In
but there was
so
no
many
name
ways.
for
there
that
was no
style.
Name for it. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked. Yeah,
we dumbed ourselves down. By name.
But it was hard to like put them in a category. You're right, because there was so many different things happening there.
Yeah,
that's interesting. And then was this around the time of Clueless, or was that later?
That was later.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Don't Know How to Party was next.
Yeah, Don't Know How to Party was like we were selling out all these venues and all these major labels just started coming out because they were seeing we were number one on the college charts. Forever, like because kids would come see us when we play all these schools, so they kept playing us. And it
was Capital Republic, all that, right?
Yeah, it was. At that time, it was like Atlantic. It was MCA. We ended up signing at Mercury, but all these other bands would drop out of the top 10. And we just stayed in there, and then they started flying out to see our shows, and the shows were just crazy.
Yeah,
at that time, they're like, okay, we don't know. I remember their pitch was like, we have no idea what you're doing, and we have no idea why people like you, but we know people like you, and we want to get involved. And I was like, okay.
So Don't Know How to Party, and that goes all the way back to the Murphy's Law are inspired by that name, right?
Yeah,
basically, and what these dudes are fucking.
Yeah.
So the other two, Devil's Night Out and the other one, were they on major labels or no?
No, Tang Records.
Oh, Tang Records, that's right.
Yeah, so Don't Know How to Party. Before we put out Don't Know How to Party, we put out an EP called Ska-core, The Devil and More, which is like our kind of intro to the major label world. And then that turned into Devil's Night Out. And then the next thing was Question the Answers after that.
Yeah, and were people tripping on you guys going to a major back then? Was it a thing before the internet? Like, going to a major label?
No, because what had happened was Nirvana and Soundgarden and all of these bands started getting signed to major labels. Everyone, the Lemonheads, the Blake, like everybody in Dinosaur Jr., everyone was on a major label. Our studio, Fort Apache, where we made our records, got their own record label through MCA, and I think they were giving like $20 million a year, something crazy. Dang. They were signing bands. Everybody had a record deal. It was like so. It's like we were just the next guys that got a record deal at that point.
And so, where were you at that point? Like before we went to major, you guys had a buzz around the whole America. Like
yeah. We had luckily during the Tang time, this very weird thing happened where they wanted. Spike Lee had done a series of little documentary kind of ads for Levi's. There was like a fish market one, and there was a couple, and then Converse wanted to do their own version of that, and they did. I think Larry Bird was in one, Bernard King, and then we were in the other one. Wow! The residuals from that allowed us to tour. We just used it as tour support.
Holy shit! That's huge.
Yeah, and then so by the time we were on a major, we already had like a national fan base.
Yeah,
which is cool.
And so on Question the Answers, that was the big one, the first like really big.
Well, no, it was like, that was kind of like the major label disappointment because we went from, it was like.
So many bangers on there.
And that's like the record for like a real Bosstones fan. Dickie and I talk about it, is like, everyone loves that record because it's so immediate.
Yeah.
And there's so much energy in it. But in terms of sales, like we almost got dropped on that record. I remember Tom Wally, who I had met later.
That name.
Yeah, Tom was going to sign us to Interscope.
Okay.
But then Mercury. What ended up happening is Danny Goldberg, who had managed Nirvana and was trying to sign us to Atlantic, became the president of our label.
Okay.
And he's like, I'm not letting you guys go. You're not going to get dropped. You're going to make another record for Mercury. And the next record was Let's Face It, which was...
Damn, man.
And our booking agent, who got us Lollapalooza, in between those two events, became our A&R person.
All right, so before we get to Let's Face It, I think we played shows before that.
Yeah.
Because I know we ended up doing a bunch of tours. We went to Florida with the guys, and we were playing Janice Landing, like some great tours. And once I have Dickie on here someday I suppose, he came to one of our shows at the Wetlands, and he saw us play. And then Monday, my booking agent and manager got a call saying, hey, Dickie was at the show, wants to take you on tour. And just like that, we were on tour playing with you guys. And I thought that was, just because you randomly saw us at the Wetlands, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. And we loved you guys. Like the vibe is so positive and
Thank you,
great.
man.
And the energy was awesome.
And it was fun touring with you guys. And that tour, like it exposed us to so many people that knew nothing about. It was just great. It was a challenge even to win people over, but the crowds were super open-minded and Really, really fun, man.
Yeah, there was a good love vibe in the Bosstones crowd, which I always thought was amazing. You know,
and it was really smart. You guys, I was always wondering, they played colleges a lot, but that was a really smart thing to do, man.
Yeah,
nobody's really doing the college circuit.
Yeah, it gave us the ability to kind of buy time. Also in New England, there's so many schools, so we could go out and just play a ton of stuff and just get better and better and better and hone what we were doing. But those college shows were nuts because we ended up playing with De La Soul and Tribe Called Quest and Run DMC and Tito Puente, and like there were so many crazy bills that should not have happened.
Yeah,
but were such a great moment.
Yeah.
For us, and a normal club would never do De La Soul with the Bosstones opening up.
Like a European festival or something. Yeah,
exactly. That's what they felt like. That's exactly what they felt like at the colleges.
Diverse bills.
Very progressive and very smart. It was cool.
So leading up to the record, so you're about to get dropped on the record before, and then let's face it.
Well, so we're shooting a video for a song called "Hell of a Hat" in New York City.
Okay.
And Tim and Lars show up from Rancid, and they're working on Out Come the Wolves, and Tim's got a DAT player, which is like the first mobile digital recording thing, and headphones. He's like, "Yo, we're making this record. You got to check it out." And I'm listening. I'm like, "What the fuck? How did you do this?" And he was like, "Dude, we did this thing called demoing. Like we wrote all these songs before we recorded them, and we picked the best ones, and we're making the record." It like literally blew my mind.
Making demos. Yeah.
The concept of just like write a draft before you make the record has become the foundation of my professional life. Literally,
yeah. And a game changer for everybody. A lot of it's like
yeah. And I went to Dickie and Joe. I was like, "We are gonna do this," and that's exactly what we did. Is like we wrote way too many songs and honed it down, and it took the pressure off. Every song just became. You didn't know which was going to do it. It was almost like firing squad mentality.
Yeah.
So you could be more bold almost. And then that's how that record came together. I think it's why it elevated everything so much.
So before that, you just make enough songs just to make a record.
Dickie, I remember doing Question the Answers, and we're with the Butcher Brothers in Philly, and we were doing this song 365 Days, which I was really into this like just weird time signature riff that I'd put together. And Dickie was in the hallway writing lyrics, just trying to figure it out. Like we were on the road so much, there was no downtime, so we would book time in the middle of touring to record, and the songs weren't always done. So we didn't know what we were doing till we would hear it back, and sometimes it was like, oh my god, like that's a disaster. But it was so honest because we were in our own way almost. You know what I mean? It wasn't like there were no opinions. It was just, this is it, let's put it out kind of shit.
So you made demos for a while for Let's Face It?
Worked
on that?
Yeah, we I wonder where they all are. That's
That'd be sick to
interesting.
release that, dude.
Yeah, some of those. I know, like, I think Royal Oil, we used the demo drums because we couldn't recapture that. And then we, but there's somewhere Joe might have them.
So at this, so what's the anticipation on this record from the label? They're about to drop you. Now it's like almost do or die with the label. But the guy says he has your back regardless, right? So it's not that much pressure, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird time. Like, I'm having in my personal life, my mom had gotten really sick. Okay. So my attention had gone from the Bosstones to like all of a sudden my mom's on hospice care.
Wow.
So I'm like thinking about that. And I think that I had just kind of like pulled back, and Dick and Joe kind of took in where I was like dealing with more family stuff, which was amazing.
Yeah.
But I do remember driving and hearing No Doubt and going, oh shit, there's a moment that is happening. Like, when like grunge had happened and it had gotten so dark, and then all of a sudden it was like Sublime, No Doubt. Like this shit just started rancid.
So
like all of these songs started coming out that were like our
Green Day, Offspring, all that.
Yeah. And all of a sudden we were in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you do you wrote a lot of the songs originally, right? The main song already.
Yeah.
So the Let's Face It record. So when that came out, did you do a video before, or did you do a video once it came out? Did they test the waters and they dropped the record first?
No, there was what had happened is there was a shooting at a women's health clinic in Brookline, Mass, where this guy went in and they did abortions, and he killed some people. And we had a record label called Big Rig, which we started.
Yeah,
Big Rig, I was like, we're going to do a benefit record. And I put together this record called Safe and Sound, and Impression was on that record.
Wow.
That song took on this whole other life and was like a hit. So we were having this hit while we were finishing the record through this other thing. Yeah.
So we got to hit before it even got fucking put out.
Yeah. And I don't think any of us, including myself, understood what any of that meant, really. Mm-hmm. But the label knew what it meant. And it meant, you guys are going to do a video, going to do this, and everything got very seriously.
It got real serious too, right?
Serious, yeah.
So was that exciting? Were you two in the moment and dealing with your mom to like be in that moment of excitement of doing that, all happening fast?
My mom's thing ended up being a much more extended like kind of decline, which was great and terrible, but great for me. But it kept me insanely grounded on some level.
Yeah.
And also, bummed on another level. There were parts that were just fucking terrible about it. And I got super dark at periods. And that's where Dick and Joe had to kind of like take it up, because I was raised by my mom. This was like the person. And I was also in this like, where do I need to be a good human being? Like with my mom right now, on tour right now. So I think, I kind of split it where there was a lot of support from her and I was out there and I was doing it. But I also had this thing like I kind of wanted to be home all the time as well. Yeah.
So the record comes out. I know we did at least a couple tours on that record. Mm-hmm. And the thing that I always talk about the Bosstones that I hold so dearly is that from the minute we played with you guys or met you guys, at least in our eyes, and I know it's true, that none of you guys changed from any of that shit. Like, you guys are the same dudes hanging out that's on the tours before you had hit song on the radio or MTV. And humble, you taught us how to be respectful and treat the opening bands because the way you guys treated us. And that taught us a lot about being like professionals on the road, and just being there and witnessing that for you guys and and how long you guys been around for, how hard you worked, and actually being on tour, seeing the reaction to those songs. I was so happy for you guys. It was exciting, and it wasn't affecting how you guys treated other people. You stayed very humble. Yeah.
Well, I think being that large group, we were so.
We check each other
all the time.
That's yeah.
Like literally all the time. And we were at it for so long. It wasn't like some dudes that met in like a music back page to like start a band that sounded like, Soundgarden. It was like, we were kids, did not know how to play, and we were there because we loved each other as friends and as people.
Brothers. And
we eventually figured it out.
Yeah.
And so when all that happened, we were so kind of ready in a weird way, But we did feel this real weight of treating other bands right, because there was so much bad that was going on.
Yeah. Shout out to Higgins too.
Oh, absolutely.
He's always holding it down, man.
Oh my God, yeah.
He was there from day one pretty much, right?
Higgs was there. Yeah. Crazy. Higgs is great.
So that record, you guys tore like crazy on that record.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And there's more than one single.
Yeah.
It's a couple.
Yeah. There was Impression,
yep,
Rascal King, and Royal Oil. Those are the ones that were kind of like pushed off it. But there's also this song Let's Face It that the album is named after, which is basically like, don't be racist, don't be sexist, don't be a bigot.
Yeah.
Don't this. It seemed at a time there was a conversation like, is this trite? Is it too on the nose? But like, given what we were seeing touring the South and in America, kind of under the hood, it felt like a really important song and important shit to say. Yeah. More than ever. It's so weirdly.
Even now, still relevant. Yeah, of course.
Especially now.
Yeah.
Just the basics.
Yeah.
So that was a strong record across the board.
Yeah. So did you guys tour on that for like a year or two at least, right?
I think it was almost 2 years.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
A lot of sacrificing going on there. Everybody leaving there. There's a lot of sacrificing in the band. You're touring and
you lose, like, especially because our touring. It went from US to US, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, like everywhere, Mexico.
And radio shows, I'm sure.
Tons of radio shows, tons of festivals, tons of TV shows.
Yeah.
All over the world.
Yeah.
And you lost seasons. It was super strange. Yeah. The whole thing was absolutely kind of surreal.
So SNL, Letterman, Conan O'Brien, Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
And then was Clueless around that too?
Clueless was before. It was in between.
Okay, yeah.
It was after Let's Face It. It was after Question the Answers of before Let's Face It. And it was kind of like the perfect training ground for what do you need to do on a big stage? Mm-hmm. What do you not need to do on a big stage?
Did you have fun being in that?
I mean, we spent most of the summer playing ping pong with Beck or the Pavement or the Jesus Lizard. Like those guys, like we played our show, but it was so early.
Yeah.
And then you're just, hanging out with these other guys.
Yeah.
And it was weird because we were so musically from different planets, but so similar as people. Like everybody was skateboarders or BMXers.
Yeah.
You know, listening to alternative music, but just different areas of it. You know?
Yeah.
So crazy.
Do you remember filming Clueless?
I remember, yes, because we had tax problems. Like our so this is the story, is our accountant at the time was also Aerosmith's accountant, but I forget the person's name, but they had been running something through like our per diems, and there were taxes not paid on in anyway. The IRS is like, yo, you owe us a lot of money, and we were like, oh shit. And then around the same time, Amy Heckerling, who also directed,
shout out to Amy,
also directed Fast Times at Ridgemont High, was like a fan of ours, and they were interested in us being in this movie. So we were already like 75% there. Okay, great.
Okay.
And then they put me in touch with Scott Rudin, who produced it, to like vet the kind of thing. I don't know why I became that guy, but there was like this Nirvana like thing of them being filmed on the stage with this psych, and we all thought that looked so cool. So I basically like, they wanted us to be in a frat house, and I described what I thought it should look like, which is what they created the scene to look like, which is great. But when we showed up, we were in LA and in Hollywood West, and we got picked up. I think we were in like the Grafton Hotel or something. And the Teamster guy picked us up. I think it was around 5 a.m, and we were like driving to set, which was at the LA County Museum. And like, what's this movie about? What's it like? And he's like, I've worked in Hollywood for 30 years, and this is the worst movie I have ever worked on in my life. And he was like down to earth, like could have been on our crew. So we were like, this is the voice of God speaking in here. The minute we get to set, we're calling New York, calling our manager, trying to get out of it, like at the beginning.
Wow, dude.
And then we met people, and everybody was cool. We're like, okay, we are moving forward. We're gonna do this. It's gonna be fine. But it was like,
it was a big movie, man.
Yeah, we had no idea. I remember Thurston Moore coming up to me on Lollapalooza. He was like, dude, that movie's really good. We just went to see it. It was like the cool older kids, you know?
Yeah.
Like, whoa, really? Thanks, man.
And then Diggy staged out, dude. It was so good, man.
Yeah, I think in retrospect, I mean, it's so much fun. It's like, she did such a great job with that movie. But like, we had no perspective. We're like, you know, of all the movies that could have been made at that time, I'm thrilled that we were part of that. We were very lucky, man.
It's a classic, dude.
It's a classic movie, yeah.
It's just celebrated a certain amount of years or something. Saw something about that. And
yeah, it keeps coming.
So you have a song in there. That's freaking huge, man.
Yeah, 2 of them.
2 songs. That's right.
Yeah, we lucked out. That was also very helpful in terms of like the whole everything.
I imagine.
Yeah, it was great.
Those work like royalties, almost like records, right?
Yeah.
Like OG gets. Okay.
Yeah.
And so do you get like Screen Acting Guild stuff because you're in the movie? You get like a.
Yeah, they kind of were like, for me and Joe and Dick, because we like there's a scene in the end where it's me and Joe, and they're like, well, you kind of spoke, so you're SAG now.
Wow.
Yeah.
You still in it? No.
I haven't paid any SAG dues. I suppose if I paid the like however much I owe at this point, who knows?
Yeah. All right, so then we got Pay Attention next.
Yeah, Pay Attention. So, okay.
Was there pressure? That makes so much pressure after such a hit record, though, no?
Well, so for me, I had a particularly bizarro period because I had decided, this is on the Let's Face It tour leading into Pay Attention. I decided, okay, I have to leave the band. I can't tour anymore because my mom is now really sick.
Okay.
And I'm like, what am I going to do? And I was also getting untethered from reality on some level from this tour. And I came to this conclusion that I didn't know anything.
Okay.
So I applied to school.
Brown University?
Yep. And there was a program, if you were 25 or older, and I was just 25, that was, they accept, I think, 5 or 6 people a year. And it's mostly military people or ballet dancers. And then
and you were both.
I was both. I was a triple threat. So I applied and got in. I remember, but I got into Brown as everything was exploding. And then it was a really exciting week, and then just had to defer. Like I paused my entry to finish all the obligations to that record. But I do think the band thought I was full of shit. Like you just need a break. You're not really.
Yeah.
You know.
Being detached from reality is something that Angelo was speaking about, how he was told when he got on the Warped Tour, like, you don't have to touch your own gear. You just come on stage, we'll give you a thing, everything's set up for you.
Yeah.
And this is how musicians are supposed to be treated.
Yeah.
He's like, they keep you in this little world where you just like, you're protected, and you come up and do your thing, you walk off, you take your gear, you go on the bus, and hotel, you're done.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like this thing where you're not really in reality, but you're traveling all these places in the world, but you're in your little bubble, right? Like kind of.
That's the normal thing.
Mm-hmm.
I started going to museums and like I got
Sick.
really into art history all over the world. So I would get up
Wow.
early, skateboard or ride my bike or run and go out and have like a day of seeing
And
shit.
see the world.
Museums especially I love because I'd be like, you know, being in a band, you know this, it's like a party for yourself every day, which is a bad thing psychologically. That's not real.
It's not
So if
real.
you go and you see something that's 4,000 years old or, you know, you go, okay, this is a moment in time. You get a lot more perspective. It's very healthy, helpful.
And so you feel kind of disconnected at that point.
Yeah. To Angela's point, I mean, it's designed to hold you. And on top of that, you are getting a dose of adrenaline every night.
Every night.
And they got to figure out how to go to sleep and then wake up and get the dose of adrenaline.
Over and over again, man.
Over and over again.
It's a grind, man.
And then for people like Dickie who's singing, it's worse because he's got to wake up, do promo all day.
I know.
Figure out how to get sound check or not, and then get on stage and then do promo after. And then like he's
like
doing,
you're a machine.
Yeah, he's doing 3 jobs.
Yeah.
And I can do one and sit in the back of the lounge and listen to punk rock
and
records
save your
after a
voice
show.
and sing a whole entire set.
Yeah.
And get sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
You kind of lose your mind.
Yeah, and everyone just has totally different experiences through touring.
And they also have like a different perspective. So here you are on MTV, you have this huge hit.
Yeah.
And you see you guys playing every night, but it's like you're flying, you get no sleep, all that. It's even if you're in a bus and you're flying, it still beats on you. You're still a human being. It's draining, man.
Yeah, it's super draining.
And you guys were nonstop, but you were young too. That's another thing.
Yeah, we were. It was weird. But going to school, I remember it was the tour was almost 2 years long. And then I had a week off, and then I started school, and everyone kind of had a little bit of a break, and it literally felt like I was entering some sort of spa. Like everything was like trying to make you healthy. Like, do you need anything? It was crazy.
Did people recognize you went to school from being in the band?
Some people did, but it was a kind of school where like I was in a class with George Harrison's son, Donnie Harrison.
Nice.
And I'm like, that dude's dad, you know, like that, and the woman from this girl who was in Rushmore was in the school, and there was like a lot of like fame and kids of famous people. So there was never like, it was never weird. Yeah. You know, to my knowledge.
So was there pressure for Pay Attention because of that? Or did you guys feel pressure? After you have 3 hits like that and all that shit.
Yeah. I think that there was a more of a sense that this was just gonna go on forever, almost too. Like you're just gonna have more hits, and it's just gonna kind of keep going. You know,
you guys thought that too, like a machine.
I think it's just human nature. Like
totally,
you just think it's gonna kind of like continue to roll as it was rolling.
Did you feel pressure to write songs?
Yeah, the problem for me is it became. And this was kind of happening. The thing I loved became a job where it was hard to just write because of I love this, you know?
Yeah.
And it was
like you have to be inspired to write and make it come naturally, then it's forced. Like I have to write a song, right? Like kind of force it.
Yeah. It was weird. And I think part of it was like for the world, the Bosstones have been around for 2 years, but for us, like this was 98. And we had started in 84.
Jesus, man.
To put it in perspective. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
dude.
We were like at the end of like a ultra marathon.
But it's so inspiring to like have something that big that late in the career. Also gave people like, oh shit, like
oh my God,
you stick at it this long, this could happen. And
oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I do think it's about a process and work, and that's how you attain that kind of success. And I ended up leaving, like doing it the next record, Pay Attention, but with the full knowledge that I was going to go back into school and those guys were going to hit the road and do it.
You make the record, but you're not going to tour.
Yeah, it was super hard psychologically.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It was just like.
And was Pay Attention on the same label, right?
Yeah. Well, Mercury became Island Def Jam.
Okay.
And so Leor Cohen and a whole different
Leor,
group
damn,
of
he's like he's a heavyweight.
Yeah.
In the hip hop world. So the Pay Attention. Was that good? Are they happy with that numbers?
No. I think it was okay.
Yeah.
But I think that the spend and promo around it was so big because of the last record did so well, and the expectations I think were and I missed a lot of this because like this was stuff that Joe and Dick and the rest of the guys were dealing with on the front line on tour and dealing with the label, and I was somewhere else by that point.
And what was your major in school at that point?
I was like, I'm not doing music. But I love politics, so it was political theory.
Wow.
It was like from all the punk rock stuff,
Yeah.
It was like
Dead Kennedys.
Dead Kennedys, The Clash, all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I loved it.
So how many years were you Oh, I mean, you went to school. So how many years were you out of the band? So Pay Attention.
Mm-hmm.
And then was it Jackknife to a Swan? Was that on
That
side
was
one?
Side one, yeah.
Yes, you guys get off that label.
Yeah, so after the major label thing, I was out.
Okay.
So that was like I was doing school, and that's when I morphed into the music industry in a different.
Yeah, so you tried to get away from music, but you ended up back in the music.
Yeah, I started. I was Evan Dando.
Lemonheads, yeah.
Asked me to be in a band with him.
Okay.
So I started playing with Evan for a few months.
Was that the Kickovers?
No, this is pre the Kickovers.
Okay.
And then it was going to be Automatic Screw Machine, I think we were going to call it, or Automatic Drill Machine. Anyway, and then he got offered this big slot at Reading Festival, and he's like, well, this is actually going to be the Lemonheads. Like, do you want to be in the Lemonheads? And I was like, no.
Okay.
Like, I do not want to go back on tour and be in some other, could be in the Bosstones, my own band.
Were they a Boston band, Lemonheads?
Yeah, Lemonheads were from Cambridge too.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, same.
Was that Hate Your Friends or something?
Hate Your Friends, Tang Records.
They had some big, they had a big song. Remember that, man?
Yeah.
And the cover song too, I think.
Yeah.
So you're doing that. So how do you get into the music biz then? How does that happen from politics to that?
So I'm writing songs and producing stuff. Street Dogs.
Yeah.
Did a bunch of shit. And
Explosion.
No
Effects.
No Effects. Mike called me and asked me to play guitar
Okay.
on So Long and Thanks for All the Shoes.
Okay.
And I played on I think 3 or 4 songs on that project.
Okay.
All the ska and reggae stuff.
Yeah.
And then I worked with this band Lost City Angels that were from Boston and writing, and they got signed to an imprint through Universal.
Okay.
That was through Republic, and I met Monty Littman and Avery Littman, who started Republic Records. And those guys hired me as a consultant to start.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So you were producing a little bit, obviously.
Yeah. And I was doing the production, and I was like, I hate this. Because Joe and Dick, like Joe is so good at that and wants to be in the room the whole time.
Yeah.
I was the guy who would like breeze in for a couple hours, like go out, come back, and
Yeah.
And then when I'm producing, I'm there the whole time, and it just was not for
Sounds
me.
draining.
It was not my thing.
Yeah. So then from there, you got really into it. You started really like signing more bands, or started signing bands from that, or
Yeah. No? Well, the first week I was as a consultant, I found this song by this kid, Freddie Wexler, who is now a big pop songwriter, but he ended up in a bidding war. So like, I was literally a week in, I'm in Doug Morris's office, who was like the head of all of Universal, with Doug and Monty, and I'm the new guy, and I found this guy that's like the hot guy. So they started kind of paying attention to me, and then they offered me a vice presidency at Republic, and I'm like, I'll take that.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was pretty insane.
Were you treated different because you came from a successful band who paid their dues, who toured in vans, who did all the work, and got you had a career before you went there? Like,
that got
respect.
1,000% got me through the door, and then it was the opposite. It was like, okay, you think now can you play nice with everybody? Can you actually do a job? Can you email? Like, I had to learn.
You had to become business, kind of like a bit opposite side of the shit.
Yeah, and I had to prove myself. I really tried to stop talking about the band and think about, okay, what am I gonna do here now to help? And I knew what I wanted from an A&R person, so it was not complicated. Like what my North Star was as an executive, but it was like a totally different world.
Yeah.
Sitting in an office from touring a different city every night.
Yeah. So you did. You worked on Les Miserable's soundtrack.
Oh, Les Mis. Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, that was more like
Les Mis. I always say it wrong. Les Miserables.
No, I've said it. Yeah. I worked on it long enough to have it drilled into me.
That's huge, though. That's a big deal.
That was a big one. That was more like scooping it up for Republic and knowing who was involved and how they were doing it, and that was, one of the things about an A&R is just having your radar open to things that are going on.
Yeah.
And that was a weird, like, a friend had mentioned something, who was not in the music industry, and reading an article in the Times, and then saying, hey, sending that to Avery and being like, I think this is, they might be making this movie, and then pulling up all the research about all the other records they did, and then really getting in there very quickly and picking up a record that sold a few million copies or more.
Crazy, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what was after that? I know you signed Maggie Rogers.
Yeah. Well, before Maggie at Republic was a band called Fantagram.
Yep.
And then The Weeknd. Yeah, The Weeknd was a big one.
Yeah, he went the shirt. Like I was a fan. I was a fan of him first time I heard him and all the songs. Then I found out you you signed him or found him.
Well, the way it works is if you identify somebody and then you're the guy who like brings it in, then you sign it and you are part of that thing, and you're basically like their internal manager. There was that point where Abel, they were concerned about messing anything up. They didn't really trust anybody. So I was like their point guy for international stuff and for streaming. I remember bringing Abel to Spotify.
You were like his dude though.
I was like his dude. Yeah. But signing The Weeknd was not. That took 18 months. That was like a whole journey. It was pretty nuts.
Wow. So how'd you hear him? Like how'd that happen?
It was kind of, I think it was the OVO blog or something.
Wow. That's right. He's with Drake. That's right.
Yeah. Had put it out there, and everybody. It wasn't like the first person discovered. Everybody was on it.
Okay.
And loved it, and I absolutely loved it. And
super talented, man.
Yeah.
Super original. Yeah. Just like.
I flew up to Canada, to Toronto the next day, and they were making the next mixtape. They were sitting in the House of Balloons studio.
Shit.
Yeah, and but everybody was. Jimmy Iovine was trying to sign. I mean, there was like 27 labels.
Like a bidding war.
It was a bidding war, but it ended up being more not about who would pay the most money. It ended up being who understood it the most.
That's how it should be.
When I had him do a remix for Florence and the Machine really early on, and then Abel opened for Florence on her U.S. tour, and this is before we signed, But I just wanted to show like this is what we do. I also saw him as like David Bowie. I think other people were like, this is like an R&B thing or whatever, and I still don't see it.
It's more than that. It's more than that.
I think he's David Bowie. That's what I think he is.
Yeah,
he's so fucking smart, like
super
brilliant.
talented. Like. So it was Florence and the Machine on the label as well?
Yeah, Florence was on the label.
Okay.
My friend Ben had signed Florence in London, and I was kind of like the U.S. Florence guy, so did some work with her.
That's amazing, man. So, so The Weeknd gets signed 18 months later. It took to get signed. Did they not understand it? They didn't get it right, I guess? Or thought it was just R&B? You saw something more than they saw.
Yeah, well, some of the first songs he was sampling Susie and the Banshees, and he was sampling. Sick. There was a song that he had released a sampling the Smiths that got pulled down, and he was really into like New Order and Joy Division and all this other, But for me, it was like I understood kind of where he was coming from, and when I went up to Toronto, his producer Doc McKinney had been in a punk band in Minneapolis. I forget what their name was, but he's like, "Oh, you were in the Bosstones." Like he knew the thing, and it flipped the script in terms of like you're a little different than all these people. That's not why he signed, but it made it easier.
You're a musician as well, and you've been through all this, yeah.
But I knew what Abel was, and I was just I just wanted to help and protect it and make it as big as it could be, which I feel like kind of we did. Yeah.
So 18 months later he signs, and then what was the first single off that?
Well, we basically there wasn't really Wicked Games kind of was the single off a trilogy, but it wasn't designed for singles. Do you know what I mean? It was kind of like, he's the hit and we're going to support this. And
the whole thing, everything. Yeah.
And I'm much more into that. Like there are people at labels that want to sign songs that are hits, but I'm much more interested in signing artists that eventually will figure it out.
Totally. You can grow with them and shit. You figure out who they are. He was young too. Was he younger?
Yeah. How old was Abel then? Maybe 18? 19?
So when when the shit hit, they were like, "You're right."
Kind of. Yeah. There's a
because you believe from the jump.
Yeah. It was very. There's no reason I should have been able to do that, but it's not. Honestly, it was me, and then my label helped, and Monty, and everybody jumped in to support it.
Of course.
But being in a band, that.
Yeah.
You're like, we're a band, so this team is going to win. My direct boss at that time was this guy Rob Stevenson, who had signed Fall Out Boy and the Killers. He was a great A&R guy, and he was wildly supportive. Yeah. Too. And my friend Tom Mackay, who also I'd worked with at Republic and had gone on to do more film and TV stuff at the label. We did the 50 Shades of Grey soundtrack stuff together, but he was also incredibly supportive. So you kind of need to have that. If you have those instincts in the wrong team, it's pointless. But if you're in the right team, it's amazing.
Yeah, it works great, right?
Yeah.
So how many records did he do there on that label?
He's still on.
Wow.
Yeah. Abel's still.
Were you with him the whole time on all the albums?
I was with him through the big one. There's Beauty Behind the Madness, which was like the big, like, Earned It, and I Can't Feel My Face, and all the Max Martin stuff we did together.
You.
Yeah.
So catchy, man.
So good. I remember sitting.
He had so many bangers. There's so many hit songs on the radio, man.
Yeah. We were talking at the time of making a record like Thriller and Let's Dance, like those kind of two records in terms of pacing. I remember having a meeting at Max Martin's, and it was me and Abel's manager and Martin Dodd and Wendy, who was also another A&R person. And we were talking about the song Earned It, which ended up being in the 50 Shades. And then we could hear the bass line to I Can't Feel My Face coming through the floor.
Holy
and we were like,
shit.
What is that? Like, we hadn't heard the song. It was the first time Abel was doing something with tempo. And
That's like the biggest one, right? I would have to say.
I don't know anymore.
So
It's
big. I heard it so
I think it culturally was such a moment. Like it was like the song of the summer kind of thing.
His hair too.
Yeah, so
hair,
cool, so punk rock.
When he cut his hair, I was like, oh my God, but it still didn't matter. He's still talented. It's not just the hair.
Well,
but
Abel's got he's as much of a fan as he is of music. He's way bigger fan of film. And he creates kind of like characters for each album.
Yeah, he did the last one. I remember that.
Yeah, everything's a different.
So it was all like bloody and stuff. The last video, the newest song was like all
yeah.
beat up and
It's
stuff.
Raging Bull.
Oh,
and
wow.
Casino, and there's one other film. The what's the Las Vegas one where they do drugs?
Casino?
No,
Leaving Las Vegas.
No, it's the Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Fear and Loathing, yeah.
Those three things are on. That's what that whole.
He seemed super smart, talented kid, focused, like knew exactly who he was.
Yeah, awesome.
Embraced it.
Yeah. And they were like, to me, just punk rock. You know, it was like, we're going to do this ourselves. We're starting our own label. We're starting, just awesome.
So you left that label after?
Yeah.
When
I had known, having been in a band, that your A&R person is not in your band. Your A&R person is somebody that helps you.
Yeah.
You know, but like, I have to have my own world. It's the only way I can. And I like helping people.
Yeah.
Abel does not need help. He's like, you know what I mean? He's good. That trajectory was out of here. And I was getting, offers to work everywhere, and had a really great offer to go to Capitol Records. So, and it had always been in my mind, like, Beach Boys, Beatles, like the iconic label.
Capitol Building, all that shit. Yeah.
So I'm gonna go do that.
Wow.
And
was it hard to leave? Saying like,
oh, it was like the Bosstones all over again. It was another one of like leaving this thing that's I was so identified with the Weeknd.
I'm sure he's bummed to see you go for sure too.
Yeah, I think it was weird. Yeah, because it's like, there's nothing wrong with this picture, so why are you?
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
If it ain't broke, what's going on?
Well, you took a chance, you took an opportunity to go.
Yeah, but it was less about. I try not to make decisions based on money.
Yeah.
I try to make decisions based on like
your journey.
Yeah, or like what I'm interested in, because I think I'll do well if I'm interested in it. Or I can help.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Totally. So Capitol, a whole new world there, and
whole new world.
What year was that?
That was 2016 January.
Oh, shit.
And it was fucked up because, to go back to the Bosstones, I get a call in early November of 2015 from Joe Gittleman, like, Lawrence has been hit by a bus, or was driven off the road. He was like biking and had a big accident and broke his arm, and we need you to play the Throwdown. And I was like, Joe, there's no way I can do that. Like, I'm packing my family. We're moving. I got this big job, and like,
moving from where?
Moving from Brooklyn. We had been in Brooklyn for 13 years.
Oh, shit. Okay, in New York the whole time.
Yeah, so I was in New York the whole time.
Okay.
And then I was like, I got to do that. And I
did you miss it?
Yeah, okay. But I had convinced myself in many levels that I hadn't. I needed to like survive emotionally. Yeah. But then like Joe's like, you just have to learn like 30 songs and we can do the Throwdown. I'm like, great, okay, 30. Ended up being, I think, 70 songs.
Wow,
that I had to learn. Some of them I wrote, but doesn't mean I rememred any of it. I just had to like.
It comes back like riding a bike, doesn't it?
Some of them, but there was a bunch of them I had no idea, never played. But it was fun. It was so surreal to like, and then we played with Rancid at the Shrine on New Year's Eve.
That's right. I was there. It was a great show.
Yeah, and that was like also super like weird. And then all of a sudden I was in the Capitol building.
So how long had it been since you played with the Bosstones?
since I think it was the hometown throwdown in 1999.
Dang.
So it had been 15 years, 16 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great New Year's show, man.
I think that was am I right? I think I'm right.
You have a great memory, by the way.
Sometimes.
It's funny you say. I said this off this before we recorded, but yeah, like my brother tried leaving the band. He sent this huge heartfelt email, and we all got it, and we knew it was going to happen. We knew it was coming, but none of us responded to it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew we got the Offspring gig. I was super happy for him, but he's my brother. He's my blood. We started this band together, just like you, and so we always hit him up. Hey, we have this one show, and we'd be hanging on his schedule to the last minute, like the Offspring schedule versus the H2O schedule.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't do it. We got this other tour in Europe. We have the Japan.
Right.
Ty, you've never been to South America with H2O. Just always leaving it out there for him.
Right.
Like the door's always open for him.
Right.
And sometimes like what you got, like we need you. This is one show.
Right.
Just please do it. And then like you come back and do it. But like it's like the mafia. You can't really leave, I guess.
There was one other thing. It was Dickie's birthday show. I played.
Yeah.
It was before.
Is there something about playing those songs again, but with no, like you're not in the band, you're not making new records, come play songs with my friends, reminisce, play the song, and go back to my life. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's
But
different.
to your brother's point, that story, I mean, it's like it is a family in a way that's on some level stronger than family in a bizarre, they're a family
100%.
you've chosen that are like Dickie's like in my life. Like Joe, our parents dated when I was 2.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like the Gittleman, it's like we're so deep. We play with each other. It's like the pocket is so intense because we learn together. It's bizarre.
You guys are real musicians.
You
sound great together.
Together,
Yeah. It works.
So it's so strange. It was weird, like working on the or playing with them. We're working with them recently. Just like it's like giving back the tools that you didn't have almost. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I played on other records, but like I played on this Phantogram thing for Hunger Games soundtrack and
Nice.
so this Naughty Boy thing I did something for, but it's just completely different. That's more like just doing something.
Yeah.
So
you play that show. It's awesome. And then,
Yeah.
and now are you vice president at Capitol Records?
I'm executive vice president.
Dang.
now.
In that building?
Oh no, sorry. I got no. So at Capitol, I signed Maggie Rogers and worked on all sorts of like Troye Sivan, and then did a bunch of stuff with Berry Gordy, which was insane.
Sick.
And worked with Barry Gibb on stuff, which was also like nuts.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really like there was a lot of that kind of stuff going on.
Yeah.
But then it felt like a weird fit for me, and I was offered a label at Warner Brothers and also be a lead executive vice president A&R. And I was like, okay, I got to go do this now.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Was that your first? Didn't she have a Billboard hit, Maggie?
Yeah, Maggie's had a #1 album.
Was that your
when
first
when
#1
came out.
album?
Yeah, that was her debut.
It's freaking
#1
awesome,
on the
man.
album chart. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, Maggie's she is wildly smart and wildly talented, and just the amount of people in her stream that she's worked with and is just nuts. It's just really like she's special.
Yeah.
That woman.
So just like just like Let's Face It, and kind of pressure to make the next record.
Yeah.
Now you signed. Now you're part of the Weeknd's success, and now you got moved to. They found you because of all this, involved.
Yeah.
Then you go to LA. Was there pressure to sign like another Weeknd? Or
Every
like,
time.
I'm sure.
that was part of one of the problems at Capitol. I was paid too much money.
Too much. All right.
And probably I don't mind, but it's kind of like Abel's like a thing. Like I'll sign things that are going to be.
It's part of the Weeknd, by the way. Yeah.
I'll sign stuff that's successful, which is, but
the Weeknd sold millions and millions of albums.
Yeah, hundreds. It made I don't even know hundreds of millions of dollars. Probably,
Yeah.
whatever the label or whatever. But it's yes, that is the pressure. But I kind of like. I feel like there's so little good and so much suck in the world, and it's like just work on stuff that's great, and things will figure it out. And if it figures out in the term of my contract, great. Then I'll do more, and if it doesn't, I'll figure something else.
How many years was your contract for there?
Usually at executive vice president level, you're usually in like a 3-year contract.
Oh wow, it's kind of short.
Yeah, because they're like, if you have a hot hand, you want to parlay that into the next thing, and if you have a cold hand, you want to get out of there and go somewhere where it's going to be hot. There's this whole strategy, but that's kind of like, and then I think presidents are kind of the same 3 years, 4 years, and then a chairman or 5 years usually. That's like the longest.
And you didn't go to no school to do any of this stuff. Because you studied politics.
Yeah, you know what's weird? It's almost like everything. I was on a call today talking about this with an artist. Like everything I've done informs my job, right? Like politics is like navigating a label and navigating an artist and managers, and art history is like videos and songs.
That's true.
The arc, everything. The Bosstones touring. It's like there's no like, what would that feel like? Like I know because I had the job.
Yeah.
Like I know what it feels like.
And you lived it.
I lived
Experienced it. Yeah.
And I played probably more than anyone I'm going to talk to and play more shows. Do you know what I
True.
mean?
Yeah.
So like I understand that like emotional thing, and
Yeah.
I think it's helpful that somebody feels heard and it knows they're seen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That makes
course.
sense. But no, I don't think there is. You can go to a music business program, but it's very hard to kind of intuitively kind of have it in you.
Well, just get those life experience of touring in a road, sleeping on people's floors, being in a van with 7 people, playing to nobody, just all that real life experience of being a musician, behind the scenes, in front, all that, and then you had all that. You know, that was your resume.
Well, it's like grit and tenacity, right? That is like so much of all of this. And then I was reading the Stanford professor's book about the artistic process and about luck, and she's got this theory. She's in the business school that luck is like a wind that blows all the time, and you need to figure out your game where you can catch that wind. And for me, it's songs. You know, that metaphor of like what Tim said: write way too many songs, and narrow it down. You write 50 songs for a 10-song record, you're catching some wins, some luck for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's
true.
true.
You can't sit down. Even with Max Martin, you know, Max, there was a song we were working on. Max is like, I was like, man, how many passes have you done of this? How many versions? He's 250 versions of this song.
Wow, man.
Like that's Max Martin.
Yeah.
Like getting at it. But even with that, you can't make it, you can't force it. It either like the culture, it's like surfing. It speaks back to you. It's a hit or it's not.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's a great point.
So I just think you got to do a lot.
Yeah.
And you got to be cool with failing. It's not about being good at something at all. It's about being okay sucking. Yeah. That's really what this is all about.
So did you do your 3 years at Capitol and you had some success there?
Yeah. It felt like I learned the most, I think, about the music industry at Capitol. And I think the Maggie thing was awesome. But it also felt like it was the first time I really understood what my job was. Mm-hmm. But I also understood it when I talked about the chemistry thing. The chemistry of that team didn't work the way I needed it to. I can't. Aaron Bayshuk, who I work with now, signed Bruno Mars, and he's an A&R guy.
Okay.
And he understands the creative process and art. That's the kind of person I need to be. That was what Rob Stevenson at Republic. If I'm under that, I thrive. But if I'm under a marketing person or somebody that's more on the business side, like I can't. There's like a disconnect.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to figure out that chemistry groove.
Did you have that at Capitol?
I didn't have that partner at Capitol. Mm-hmm. I had the head of the company was much more, Steve, is really brilliant at marketing strategy and had managed AC/DC for 10 years, and his stories are amazing. But I'm the other, right? I'm like the difficult artist almost, like as opposed to like I'm somebody that can help solve this. Like it's a much different dynamic, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So after Capitol, would you go then?
So my Capitol, right to Warner Brothers. Yeah.
So you had 3 years done.
Yeah.
And then right to Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
And what was that job? What was that title?
So that's same executive vice president.
Damn,
Warner
man.
Brothers. Yeah.
And so 3-year contract there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No Bosstones. It's strictly now you're just a music biz guy.
Until like, Dickie and I went to see the specials together. Or our kids play once in a while, and Dickie comes over and goes swimming. We have barbecues.
Awesome.
And we went to see the specials, and we're talking about doing a Dickie solo record, and that morphed into let's write a song. When Jake Phelps passed away, let's write a song about Jake. And we started writing this song called Truth Hurts around Jake, and this is all morphed into this new Bosstones project that's happening.
Bring it to the present day. So you still at Warner Brothers,
but I'm still at Warner Brothers, yeah.
And working from home at this point, probably, right?
Working from home, yeah.
And
Crazy.
so do you have some good success there since you've been there with artists?
So far, yeah. The first thing I came in the first week, I signed a Roddy Ricch Marshmello song.
I know
it sounds
Roddy Ricch,
weird.
yeah.
This song called Project Dreams.
So now you're doing hip hop stuff.
Yeah. I get. Well, sometimes I love that song. So that we're at a million here and almost 2 million globally on that song.
Wow,
Which is
my
rad.
son likes that stuff.
Yeah, and then I helped out a
Rich.
little with this Dua Lipa record, just one song, and then signed this guy Teddy Swims that we're just launching now that has this song Broke that's absolutely amazing. Signed an artist named Omar Apollo that I'm doing with Brock Corson, who is also Kendrick Lamar's A&R guy. So
Sick.
both of us are working on Omar. And Omar is like out of here. Like his trajectory is nuts.
Is it hip hop?
No, he's more like Prince.
Sick.
He's like a Prince.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of working with JoJo and had put JoJo with Doc McKinney, who did a bunch of the Weeknd stuff, and with Nova Wave, who did a bunch of Rihanna, Beyonce stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I think I have 10 or 11 things.
Is there a big difference from Republic to Capitol to Warner?
It's like being
It's all the same, and
no, it's it's like being in 3 different bands.
Okay.
It's literally like I'm still playing guitar, but this is totally different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm really, really digging the Warner thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I feel really, really blessed to be in there with those dudes.
Yeah, is it a more downsized thing in major labels these days with all the streaming and stuff, or is it still like in the same place it was? And
no, it's like that.
Okay.
Like the industry is on an upward trajectory for sure, and it will probably be. I think they're thinking in the next 5 or 6 years it will be bigger than it ever was.
Okay.
Which is crazy.
The music business, you mean?
The recorded music business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Regardless of all the pandemic stuff, regardless of all this stuff.
The recorded music business,
Okay.
is doing really well.
Yeah.
And some of it is doing well because of the pandemic stuff. Obviously, people are streaming. And looking for stuff.
Yeah.
Live touring obviously is a mess, but like.
What's your take on that? When do you see that actually coming back? If you could have any power to it.
I would say, I mean, the booking agents that I talk to think it will be full moving ahead probably next summer.
Yeah.
Here,
hoping,
probably sooner in other parts of the world, but unless their flare-ups are crazy. If we get a vaccine sooner, like January, who knows? And I do think, and many people are talking about this, but I think the sense is we're going to roll into another version of the Roaring 20s, like which happened after the Spanish flu. Like people are so pent up. It's going to be like art and creativity and partying.
That's a positive.
Crazy.
That's a great thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, your future's in your past. History tends to repeat itself on some level. So
yeah, I think it's going to be really, really exciting or really, really weird at first.
Well, it'll be weird, but people are already like these colleges are throwing huge parties. Like people are just not caring and showing up. Man. So I don't think people are like, how are we going to convince people to go back to shows? I'm like, it's not going to be complicated.
I don't think they're scared. I don't think they're scared.
And I'll never take a live show for granted again.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be nice to go on the tour of Bosstones right now, wouldn't it? Like,
yeah.
Awesome, you know what I mean? Like, Adam Blake said the other day, it's like when we go on tour, like, fuck, we have to go to Europe tomorrow. Like, 15 shows or something, say goodbye to our wives and our kids, and then we're on the freaking long-ass flight eating shitty food. Yeah. Then we're backstage for 8 hours or walking on the street seeing the same city we saw before, eating the same warm-ass catering, to wait 23 hours to play like 3 or 4 hours. I was like, I'd do that right now. Right. I would not complain, I promise, being backstage in the sweaty-ass fucking squat in Europe. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, I never took it for granted because I got to do it so much, but this is my first summer home, like 25 years. And it's interesting how this is all working, like as far as like, my wife told me like the reason why we've been married for 24 years because I went on tour and because I fucking left, and that made it stronger, like the separation. Now we're on top of each other, and so it's like, you're really gonna come out of this with a strong ass marriage, or you're really gonna realize like what it's.
No, that's absolutely right.
Real, it's crazy, like
because everyone is working in their homes, like everyone I'm talking to.
Yeah.
That thing is, it's a lot to ask. To have everything in one physical space
on top of each other.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, what does that mean for like big ass record company buildings when people can work from home and don't need that to be rented out?
Yeah,
it's going to change.
Yeah, I think it was Twitter said, maybe it was Twitter said, or Facebook said, you don't need to come back. You can live wherever you want.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the new. That could be something.
Yeah. And I have people that are like work at labels in LA that are now in Colorado or in, other parts of the country. Like fine.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's going to change. I don't think we're going back to anything. I think we're driving through a tunnel. Like those long ass tunnels in Switzerland. Like we're in the middle. We're in the middle of that. And what we head out, it won't be what we came through. It'll be something very different. But I think my guess is we're probably like halfway to 3/4 of the way through it. That's my guess.
There's gonna be a lot of empty buildings around the country. Office buildings.
Yeah, I would not want to be in commercial real estate at the moment, because I agree with you. I think corporations have a lot more faith in people. And why would you spend the money if you don't need to on the overhead? It makes no sense.
So now fast forward to now, I got to sing on the new Bosstones record, and there's some great songs on there. It was awesome to hear those songs. There's some important songs on there for the times, and you're back on it. You're back in the mix.
I'm part of that record. Yeah, I think I'm on five songs and wrote one of them.
And how'd they get you back in there? Just, hey, we need you.
Hey, you wanna write on that? You wanna come back for a day? And just there was never a conversation. It was just
it's family though. It's like,
you got any ideas on this one? And like when I hear songs Joe Gittleman writes, I'm like, my brain just has. It's like all the ideas of what should be on that.
Yeah.
Like I just hear hooks that
I want to talk about how cool Joe Gittleman is when he chews bazooka gum on stage. Like,
yeah,
he inspired me to start chewing gum on stage to keep my voice like that.
1,000%.
I know Dave Grohl does it too as well, but Gittleman was the first one doing. And me, I jump around and run around. I've choked on it a couple of times, but it definitely does work.
It really works.
And then he had Jittery Joe's Coffee on the Warped Tour. That was amazing.
Yeah.
It's just you guys are such a unique group of friends. You grew up, you know what I mean? It's an amazing journey you had, man.
Yeah, it's super. The longer it goes, the rarer it feels, Yeah. And it's strange because the Bosstones, unlike a band like, Pearl Jam, that, kind of got to arenas or in this other thing. It's like we all have our other foot in like a different world, different jobs and stuff. Yeah. And it's like a great blessing, to have that outlet plus. Dickie's got the whole Kimmel family.
I was so happy I heard his voice in there. It was like, holy shit.
I would get in cabs in New York, man. Like, oh, there's Jimmy Kimmel alive. And I'm like, this is so fucked up. I'm hearing Dickie in this cab.
Oh, in the cabs.
Like in the back, the TV goes on. It's Dickie's voice, It's so
cool, though. So Kimmel was a fan, right? He knew you guys or something? He went to Bosstones?
Yeah. There was a story when I think we were playing the K-Rock Weenie Roast, and we invited Adam, and I don't know if Jimmy backstage to just like come hang out, And then Dickie knew him from, I don't know if it was Loveline or something else that they did too. But we were, we generally we like to hang out with people. Yeah. So we were kind to people, so that kind of worked.
Yeah. Do you have any regrets?
Wow, I'm sure I do have. I think about that a lot, but I also think about this Chinese proverb a lot, which is, I'm going to say it wrong, but there's basically like a farmer and his son is out working on the fields, and then on the horse, and his son falls and breaks his legs, and the family almost starves. But then there's a war and the son can't get drafted because his legs are broken. So this thing that was terrible ends up being fantastic. And I've had that happen in many parts of my life where like I feel like when I was out, had quit the Bosstones, had gone back to school, and again was like midway through a tunnel of this thing, but I wasn't there yet. I was like, am I ever going to get music back the way I need it to be central, Okay. Yeah. And if you had had this conversation and asked me that question then, I would have said, yeah, I regret that right now. Okay. But in retrospect now, with all the shit that's happened post, I'm like, if I hadn't done that, none of this other stuff would have happened.
100%.
So I almost like, right before I die, you got to ask me. Okay. And then like that last breath, I'll tell you. Yeah. But you just never know how something's going to work out. You don't. Whether that's a relationship ending, or people losing their house or losing money or whatever it is, things that seem like the worst possible scenario can be amazing for people. And there's all these stories about people winning the lottery and killing themselves and having these awful, and then people getting paralyzed and really finding their spiritual selves. Totally. So you just, I don't know. I guess I don't read it in the same way anymore. No,
I love that.
That makes sense.
What do you credit like your longevity for Bosstones? What do you think it is? Why Bosstones is still here? People still care.
I think it's because we are there for each other, and it really was about wanting to. Well, about also inclusion.
Yeah, family, community,
instead of
all
exclusivity. That, but it was really about being in a room and identifying together as a unit.
Totally.
That would support each other and support our community and people around us, and positivity and PMA.
Yep.
As opposed to being like, we're going to do this to rise above everybody else and be like some sort of, you know what I mean? It wasn't escapism.
Yeah.
I've worked with people who want to be famous to escape. I try not to work with them, but it's sometimes sometimes it gets
you guys
hoisted on me.
You guys brought the fans with you on your journey. You made them feel part of you and a family, and I think that connects.
Yeah, and Dickie makes me laugh, and Joe makes me laugh. And these guys are so funny, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that Dickie sent both me and Joe a text last night. It was like, you know, so I was dying, but I'm like, that's part of it too. Is it's just like hilarious, you know? So
and the inside joke, just all that stuff. It's a fucking yeah.
I do think there's I feel badly for people that get together that don't really like each other but have success and then are married to that. And there are a lot of those.
And bands that like don't have different dressing rooms on different planes.
Oh man.
Don't talk to each other on the stage or off stage and do it, and they kill it. And people still, they're big bands, but they don't. It's a total business, man. Everybody has their own LLC. I could never do that. I don't care about them. I could never do that. I just couldn't do it, man.
Yeah.
Like, I love my band. I talk to them every day. I hang out with them. There was a couple people in New York back in the day, like, they saw me and Rusty and Adam out one way. They're like, you guys hang out off tour?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I fucking knew Rusty since I was a little kid.
Right.
You know, these are my brothers. Like, we love each other. Like, we always talk every day, man. Like, we're family.
Yeah.
All that little dumb business shit. Like, I hate all the business shit that gets in the way sometimes of just the music.
Yeah.
The different business managers and booking agents and all that. I hate all that. It's stressful.
Yeah.
And those little stupid fights, they don't matter when you get on stage and you're playing and you love each other. You're brothers, you know?
Right.
It's special.
It is special.
Yeah. Not many bands have that and can have a long career like that and still.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Says a lot about the people, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are you consider yourself an optimist or pessimist? But I pretty much know the answer for that.
I mean, I'm a crazy optimist.
Yeah.
I'm always like,
we're
going to do this. And like, we're marching towards it. We're going to. And then having that happen now multiple times in my life for projects I've worked on, I'm like even more like that.
Yeah.
You know?
You have to be, man, I think.
I think it's reality.
It is reality, yeah.
You know? You articulate it and it, becomes real. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's what the whole PMA Napoleon Hill thing is. It's like what the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve.
1,000%.
And that's just believing in yourself and just really going for it and like don't listen to other people say if you believe in something, you believe you can do it, just do it. And I feel like
nobody's job is out there to keep you down. There's no one. Everyone's on the star of their own movie, walking around, kind of trying to, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And if you really have something you want to do, you can do it. You just have to. Again, it might be harder than you think, but if you love doing it, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, you didn't go to college to be a vice president of a record label.
No,
you just in a band and you learned. You paid attention to all behind this, everything you experienced.
Yeah,
dealing with managers and labels, and then you became a fucking vice president. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just believing in yourself and know you can do the job, you know?
Yeah.
I'd be fucking... Were you scared of getting those jobs or no? You nervous? Well, I'm sure after the Weeknd, you had a different confidence.
Yeah. No, that's true. I was nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to figure it out. And I tried to like keep my mouth shut as much as possible until I knew what was kind of going on.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Do you have any daily rituals?
I try to meditate every day.
Sick. What kind of meditation?
It's like insight meditation.
Okay.
So, Vipassana, I think they call it.
Okay.
Like it's kind of mindful meditation.
Yeah.
Wildly helpful. It's getting out of this kind of like narrative. Mm-hmm. And funny watching your mind trying to kind of re-engage. But doing that is really helpful. And
how long do you do that for a day?
Just 20 minutes a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to try that. My wife does that trans meditation or something.
Oh, yeah. Transcendental.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
She can do it anywhere in the car. She just blocks me right out.
Yeah.
I think she learned how to do it to block me out, but it works. She likes doing it.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that do that stuff too. That's a really good one. Either one, you know.
Yeah.
But I do like I like running a lot.
Nice.
But
this guy too, man. Brian Black Train Jack in the house, by the way.
Yeah.
He runs marathons. He ran a marathon at 50 years old. Very inspiring. His first marathon.
That's awesome.
He runs lots of miles.
I ran like 15 years ago. I ran 2. So I love that long distance marathon. Like it's so hard.
Yeah.
But it's so mental. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's just a long game. But I'm not built to run, but I love it. It's the my big problem in life. Like I'm built to play football, but I love running.
Did you play sports or no?
No, I was. Well, yes, that's not true. I played baseball when I was really little,
Okay.
like all-star, like little league shit. I loved it. But then it was skateboarding and freestyle BMX.
Yeah,
those
freestyle
things.
BMX. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s, like BMX was BMX versus skateboarders.
Oh, I
There was
remember.
like a beef back then. I remember that.
Yeah, and we were both. It was we had a weird thing, but it was earlier. It was BMX, and then it morphed into just skating. Like early high school, just skating.
Are you a coffee person?
Coffee? Yeah, I love coffee.
Yeah, I was on it for a minute.
Yeah.
And Brian's really bummed that I quit it. It just wasn't built for me. So you do a couple coffee a day?
Yeah. Wake up. I have coffee. That's
Black coffee?
No, with milk.
Okay.
Yeah. I like milk in my coffee. That's it.
Yeah, I tried it last year. I did it for a straight month of December, and I was like jittery, shittery, dehydrated. All my friends were excited. They were so proud of me that I finally grew up and had coffee. And then like, it just didn't work for my stomach. It just, I never had any. That was like my first kind of drug I put in my body, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
So now it's been like 29 days since I had it. My son got a coffee machine. No thanks to Brian, who told him which coffee machine to buy. So we have a coffee machine in the house because of Brian.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just not for me. Like my Rusty's all about it. My band, all my friends are on it.
Yeah.
Like,
If you cannot be on it,
dude,
don't be on it.
I know.
Because the worst is like I wake up and I need that coffee. But then I'm good.
It's good for your bathroom though. It's definitely fucking.
It keeps everything running.
Yeah, it keeps everything running.
Keeps you focused.
If you had to name a top 5, it could be artists. It seems like you read a lot too. It could be authors.
Oh God, this is impossible.
Musicians. Like the influences. You think?
Top 5.
It's hard though. I'll give you a minute. Brian, do you have something to say about the Bosstones? You were going to say something? Didn't they kind of find you? They think you found us? Come here. You're going to say something, Brian. You're going to say something about the Bosstones. This is Brian from Black String Jack. This has been my podcast before.
It came out of nowhere, right? All of a sudden, hey, the Bosstones want to take you out on a tour. Like, this is amazing. We were all fans of the band. And then you guys, we were talking about it's like being in school. Yeah. And at that Be Your Own Bosstone, I use that to this day.
Oh, really?
When people are like getting too much into each other's shit, it's like, be your own Bosstone. Do your, and you guys taught us that.
Yeah.
That was one of our early tours, and we're like, oh, we got to do everything together. Hey, come on, let's go.
Right.
People are getting pissed off at each other. It's like, meanwhile, one guy's taking a fishing pole, going out that way, going there. You go in a museum. It's like, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fantastic. That was one of the best memories ever.
What year was that?
I don't remember. It was after Question the Answers. It was
95 probably.
So, yeah, 95.
96.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. Back in the day. No.
So I probably said thanks back then, but now 20 whatever years later, thanks again.
Hey,
awesome.
it's my pleasure.
Right
Yeah. Yeah.
How about like the favorite punk band of all time? How about that?
Oh, this is
Just
so,
one.
Ramones are on that list.
Fuck yeah.
I think I just had to do a list for Dickie of favorite guitar players.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a good list to share.
What was like a punk band that really like changed your life? I don't know.
When I was 11, I saw Minor Threat.
Get the fuck. Okay.
Yeah, I was Minor Threat, SSD Control, Necros, FUs.
Bro.
And it was at the VFW hall, and it completely changed my life.
Bro. Guys just dropped the gem at the very end.
Yeah, that was like a Minor Threat were it for me. There was a whole thing. And that's why we covered Minor Threat later on.
Did you get in straight edge at all back then or no?
Yeah, but it's like I'm straight edge for like 6 weeks, and I had the exes, and all of a sudden I'm at a party and there's a girl and she's got a drink. I'm like, oh yeah. I was a shitty straight edge guy.
We're probably the only guy that was straight edge in Bosstones though at one point.
At one point,
yeah,
yeah.
Damn, I got to see Impact Unit once. I had my first show as Vicious Circle, Verbal Assault, Proletariat, the FUs at the living room.
Oh, that's
and
good.
Impact Unit played.
Yeah.
I have the flyer. I have it saved.
Yeah.
And that was Dickie's band. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to see some really good shows. I'm gonna have to get back to you on the top 5.
It's all good, man.
I had to do. Yeah, I
hip hop. Anything hip hop that sticks out? You love?
I mean, Public Enemy. I think just there's
Totally,
so
man.
much like the political
Super
point
punk.
of view. Like, absolutely, like blew my mind.
Yeah, man.
But I was in it like, like Soul Sonic Forest and like
Sick.
The Message and like all that early shit and like
Yeah.
the Wild Style movie I went to see when I was a little kid. And I feel like hip hop rode right next to punk rock for me.
Yeah.
In my.
And you started out
Yeah,
11 years old going to shows, right?
Yeah, because my brother was older, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I was like, oh, at 11, I'm going to do this. My brother would, take me out. So, and then that also, I think I was 12. I saw the English Beat that next year.
Damn.
And that was another one like completely changed. Like I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And Bad Brains early on. And like all of those shows were so,
monumental in your life.
Monumental.
Yeah.
And those bands were monumental.
Yeah.
All of them became
You had
so
me at Minor
important.
Threat. I'm like, yo, that's enough.
Yeah.
You saw Minor Threat's
Yeah.
fucking.
I have the flyer framed
Oh, dude.
at home from that show.
I got to see Embrace once, his other band after that.
Oh yeah.
In Baltimore.
Yeah.
And there was flowers on stage and
Yeah.
Beefeater played. That was.
Yeah. I had braces at the time, and I remember going into the bathroom and unpeeling my lips from my braces because I was slamming in the pit with it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really not good.
Fugazi fan?
Yeah, I loved Fugazi
Dude.
too. Yeah, yeah.
So ahead of the time, man, with
Yeah.
everything, man.
Oh my god. Yeah. All of it. I mean that world was so.
DC, man.
Yeah, it was just like a punch to. Oh.
Scream, Marginal Man, Government
Yeah.
Issue,
Yeah.
Soulside Dag, Nasty.
Oh yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Amazing, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Your brother roadie for SSD.
Yeah. And we had DYS, like all that
DYS,
stuff
yeah.
too.
FU, Straw Dogs.
FUs, yeah. Kill for Christ.
Wow.
Yeah, all that shit was like so weird. There's Gangrene.
Oh, it's Gangrene, yeah.
Gangrene too.
Yeah.
All the skating shit, Gangrene shit. Another Wasted
Yeah.
Night was like.
Another Wasted Night.
I'm on the back of that album cover in the audience.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, I learned so
Yeah,
much
look
about
at-
you today, man.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
You came a long way from just being like, it's amazing, man. Your journey, man. It's very inspiring, man.
Yeah. It's bizarro. Is it fun?
So now you're still a vice president at Warner Brothers.
Yeah. Yeah.
How many kids you have?
Two.
Awesome.
Yeah. A little girl and a little boy. Yeah. And they're amazing.
It's you love California?
I love California.
Isn't it
Absolutely.
crazy being like an East Coast kid your whole life and just I was like, yeah, West Coast is cool.
Yeah.
I never expected to live here. And now Brian, you live here, Black Train Jack. You just moved here a year ago. So many transplants out here.
I've been here. How long now? 2016. So four years.
Okay.
4 years. I still take pictures of palm trees. Like I can't believe it.
Amazing,
I'm
man.
like, that's a palm. Look at that palm tree. I'm like,
Could you ever live in the East again and deal with the winters?
I've learned to never say never.
Okay.
I don't know.
Respect.
I would rather not. But I could probably figure it out. When I lived in New York, I came here every 5 or 6 weeks
Yeah.
for work. So,
New York's the best.
New York. I was so fucked up. Before I took the job at Capitol, it was a month before I was offered. I was like walking in Brooklyn Heights, which is where we live, between Cobble Hill, and I was like, I could never live anywhere else. This is perfect. And then a month later, we're like, out.
Were you stressed about coming to Cali? That's a big deal.
Super stressful. Yeah, it was super stressful.
Did you want to come here?
I had been offered the same job or a different job, lower
Yeah.
level, 3 years before. So my wife and I had talked about it for 3 years.
Yeah,
If
you mentally
if I ever
prepared.
get offered the big job, would we do it?
Yeah.
And then we were like, yeah, we do it. We visited and thought about it, and then I got offered the big job, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I got to do it.
And I was talking to Brian when he was in Toronto, stationed there for a couple years, trying to get him to come out here. And he kept trying, and he finally made it, man. Now it's like, you could probably never go live in the winter again, huh?
You never say never.
Oh, never say never.
It's true. You know what opportunities. Gonna
Yeah.
come,
Yeah.
how things, Pats.
Yeah.
Yeah, life's strange.
Right now, it's the same thing. You see a palm tree, I feel like I'm on vacation.
Yeah, it does feel like, you're wearing flip-flops.
I love putting shoes on again.
Yeah, it is like you live in a vacation town.
I drive up sometimes up the 101, right,
Yeah.
on the water. Like I have to roll phone calls, and they're not Zooms.
Yeah.
And just I can't believe it with people surfing and shit. Like this is so beautiful. And when you get those days where the water is kind of briny, kind of
Yeah.
East Coast, it's like the best.
Yeah.
And I'm just so up through Malibu, like blown away.
Do you
by
surf?
that. No, that's like my dream.
I just started a couple weeks ago.
Stop.
I turned 50, and my son's an ill surfer.
How are you learning how to surf?
Just teaching myself on a long board. It's like a foam board. It's a long board.
Yeah.
So me and my friend, we go. My son's way out there.
Uh-huh.
I'm only in the whitewash.
Right.
I'm learning.
Yeah.
I stood up like 16 times in this past COVID.
Yeah.
And this COVID lockdown.
Yeah.
So I go. I was going and watching Max. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck it. I'm gonna try. I got a wetsuit. I got
Yeah.
a board. It's so fun. I can't explain it to you because I'm a full-on skateboarder for life.
Yeah.
But Max was showing me all these docs, the Neptunes, people like talking about the spiritual connection to the ocean and Mother Nature and all this
Yeah.
stuff. And when you're on a board and it's controlling you and
Oh,
you're on the
God.
ocean
I gotta
and
do
you
it.
just
Yeah.
it looks surreal. Doesn't even look real. You're going
Yeah.
on a wave.
Yeah. It's literally
I
like
can't-
I always have to think what you want most is what you're scared to ask for or something.
Yeah.
Like in my,
You should try it, man.
And that's the thing. Like I really think surfing is like, it's got to be.
You should try. I just learned at 50. He's gonna start, Brian's gonna start trying too, right?
I did it a couple of times, and now I'm here. It's like,
Yeah.
live here, you got to do it. But
Yeah.
same thing, get a foam board. It's not too expensive. Wetsuit, let's go and have fun.
Yeah. All right.
Go to El Porto, go to Malibu, go everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
it's fun. Like standing up my first time, I was like screaming like a kid. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm in the whitewash. Like I'm barely. I don't want to go over my head yet. My son's out there, like
Yeah. I'm not.
front
yeah.
side back. My son's like
Right.
I'm like I'm good, but it's really fun to be in the ocean, especially during a pandemic. When you're at the ocean, it's just
Toby,
life.
I'm inspired by this.
Yeah, it's just.
This may be a life-changing moment. I'm serious.
I know. I never thought I was gonna.
My
surf.
grandfather learned skiing at 50, and that was always like a family story. Like at 50, he
Yeah.
learns to ski. I'm like, whoa.
Now what else are we doing?
Now what
Now's
else
the
are we
time.
doing?
It's a banner year.
And listen, going
Yeah.
and like going to the ocean and being away from all this shit and your phone and fucking this pandemic
Yeah.
and with the ocean and the sounds.
All right,
smell,
I'm gonna do it.
It's so beautiful,
Okay.
man. It's saving my life, to be honest. I was losing my mind the first couple months,
Mm.
getting beat down by like not playing a show and the news and this and that.
Oh.
When I go to the ocean, I leave my shit in the car and I just go in the ocean. It's fucking.
Right.
It's cold. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Like August is the warmest month, but now it's starting to get a little bit cold. But I don't even care. I have a wetsuit even now. But like, just to stand up on a surf. My son inspired me to surf.
Yeah, it's the same reason that communing with nature thing, the thing
Mm-hmm.
that makes you feel grounded.
Yeah.
Like if it does that, I'm in.
Well, what's it gonna hurt to fall off your board? When you fall off
Yeah.
the board, you fall in the water. It's
Yeah.
not like skating.
Yeah.
It's not like you're trying to drop in on a half pipe right now at
Right.
50.
Right.
At 49.
That would be a bit. Thank you.
40, at 49.
Without due respect.
I'm not aging you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's incredible, man.
Yeah.
We should all go surfing, Brian. You should definitely. It's like the next chapter of my life. Like
Yeah.
I get it why people have this connection to it.
Right.
I'm not there yet, but when I was on that board,
Yeah.
and it's not like skating where like I'm gonna ollie on that curb or I'm gonna drop it. I'm gonna do this trick.
Right.
You're in control of that kind of.
Yeah.
But you're on this board, and it's just like, dude.
Right. Rad.
Even falling's fun, and
I'm in.
all right, cool.
Yeah.
And Brian, you're in. Well, I appreciate your time. I really appreciate coming
Thank
to
you
my
for
house.
having me.
This has been a great conversation. We talked for almost 2.5 hours. That's awesome.
Is that right? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
man. This is your life. This is your life. Nate, thank you for everything you contributed to the world. Thank you for your band, treating my band with so much respect, like a family. Thank you for your inspiration, the music you put out into the planet that helped inspire people in a positive way. I'm super happy about your journey, everything you've been through, where you're at now. And I'm honored to call you my friend, and I appreciate you being here.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. And
It's
I'm
really
not going
fun.
anywhere. I'm around.
I know. I think we should
I'll
surf,
hang
though.
out. I'm into that.
3 East Coasters should be surfing out here.
And running.
What? And running. Yeah,
And
he
running.
runs too.
Yeah.
You need to inspire me to run because he's tried to inspire me to run.
Yeah.
He runs like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And like he's got better legs than me. I don't know what it is. I love running once I'm running, but like you were never a big runner anyway, right? Your whole life now. That's something you started in your 50s, became a runner kind of.
A little bit before.
A little bit before.
48.
At 48 started being a
I used to
runner.
run on tour
Okay.
with Tim.
Okay.
Yeah, that was helpful too. It's good for your brain.
It
really
is.
good for your brain.
And it feels good for your body.
Oh,
And
it feels
once
good.
you get started, once you
Yeah.
have good music
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
well fuck. Awesome, Nate. Thank you
Okay.
so much for being
Thank
here, man.
you.
That was, where can people find you at? Like what's your Instagram?
Oh, let me look at. Hold on. I think
just
it's
Nate
just
Albert, isn't
I
it?
think it is, but let me just make sure here. I'll make sure. I think it's Nate Albert.
Nate Albert.
Yeah, Nate Albert at Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm on this because Joe Gittleman told me about it.
Okay. It's good to be on so the kids
Yeah,
can find
and
you.
then Twitter is N and then letter number 8
Okay.
Albert. Nate Albert.
And the Bosstones, just the Mighty Bosstones on Instagram.
I think no. No, it's Bosstones official.
Okay, yeah,
Or shit?
yeah, they'll find it.
Yeah.
Just so the kids can find you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Nate the Instagram is the easiest, the Nate Albert Instagram.
All right, awesome. Okay,
Yeah,
signing off, y'all.
Bosstones official. That's the
Bosstones
Bosstones,
official.
yeah.
And when's that record coming out?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah, Dickie.
There's
You got to
no
get
names.
Dickie on here
I'm
for
gonna
all
get
the
him next.
specifics.
I'm getting him next.
Yeah.
People have been asking for him, so I'll make it
Yeah,
happen.
yeah, get him on here.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye. Hey, guys. Thanks for listening. Please rate, review, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet to this podcast, please do that. And whatever platform you are listening to this on, I'm glad you found me. You can rate me and review me on there also. So thank you guys sincerely for the support. I cannot wait for you guys to hear the next one.